Bom dia a todos. Para aqueles que não me conhecem, meu nome é Paulo Couto. Eu sou professor do curso de Engenharia do Petróleo e hoje nós estamos organizando aqui um workshop sobre recuperação avançada de petróleo. É um marco inicial para uma nova linha de pesquisa que está sendo desenvolvida aqui na UFRJ, com um grande apoio do Grupo BG, em cooperação com a Universidade de Heriot-Watt. Então, as negociações para esses projetos começaram há praticamente 2 anos atrás e hoje nós temos 2 grandes projetos em andamento e, graças ao sucesso desses 2 projetos, outras empresas de petróleo, como, por exemplo, a Petrobras, já demonstraram interesse em se juntar a essa iniciativa da UFRJ, de forma que essa linha de pesquisa tem um potencial enorme para crescer num curto espaço de tempo. Hoje nós temos aqui a presença do corpo docente aqui do nosso grupo de pesquisa. Nós temos o professor Átila Freire, o coordenador aqui do laboratório. Nós temos o professor Paulo Lage, professor Fernando Duda, professor Fábio Ramos, professor Daniel Cruz. Esqueci algum outro professor do grupo que esteja presente? Não. E eu gostaria de agradecer aqui a presença do Dr. David Watson, do Grupo BG, que é o coordenador desse projeto junto ao Grupo BG, e gostaria de agradecer a presença do professor Meran Sohabi, da Universidade de Heriot-Watt, que é o nosso grande colaborador nessa área. A Universidade de Heriot-Watt já tem uma história de mais de 20 anos nessa linha de pesquisa, então a gente tem a oportunidade de trabalhar lado a lado com alguém que já está bem estabelecido na área. Eu vou passar agora ao inglês. Nós vamos hoje fazer as apresentações em inglês, as discussões em inglês, então quem tiver perguntas, para que a gente possa dividir com todo mundo, por favor, façam em inglês. So, I switch now to English. All the presentations will be made in English. Thank you, Meran, very much for being here today. I know you're very busy at Heriot-Watt. I met your laboratory and I met your people. Thank you very much, Sean, for our experience shared with us yesterday during the visit of the laboratory, and I'm quite sure we are going to do a hell of a job here with your help. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. Thank you for being here today. I know also that you people from the industry are very busy, and thank BG for all the support you've been giving us for the last 2 years. Thank you very much. To open the workshop, I'd like to invite Professor Átila Freire to make a short presentation about our group, about a little bit of story, how we come here and how everything has developed. And then I will make a short presentation about the projects undergoing. During the morning, Professor Meran Sohabi is going to present the research lines and the research activities they are doing at Heriot-Watt related to EOR. And David Watson will present new techniques on new technology for EOR. During the afternoon, we're going for more specific, more technical presentations. So Santiago Drexler will present something related to CO2 foams stabilized for enhanced oil recovery. Kirti, which is not here yet, probably because of the traffic, will present something related to modeling. And Thais and William, where is Thais? Thais is there. Thais and William will present also, will make a presentation about the use of CT scan images for modeling of enhanced oil recovery. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Átila, for hosting us today.
Thank you, Paulo. Thanks very much for the kind words. Thanks our distinguished guests. That's going to be a short one. Paulo asked me to do this introduction to the lab and so on and so forth. And then I took the opportunity to to talk to people about the little history. We have been going about for about 20 years. We have, lots of new developments in the last 8 years, and I'm taking this opportunity to explain to people how, what we were, and how it came about. That's basically, as Paulo mentioned, the outline of the day, the timetable and so on and so forth, so I'll skip that quickly. What are we today? We are basically a umbrella group that does research on fluid mechanics, and currently we have operating 3 different labs. A lab on multi-phase flow, a lab on compact separators on primary oil processing, and a lab on well technology. And how, again, did that all come about? We started actually in 2003, when we got some grant from Faperge and we assembled this group together. And in 2006, again, I apologize, most of the things are going to be in Portuguese, but I'll translate for that. In 2006, we thought about, bringing together people that did research in fluid mechanics in the Technological Center of UFRJ, and different research graduate programs and undergrad programs were supposed to take part, and that was the idea of the group. And that was unique in the university. Why was that? Because of the of the features of every single particular group. So we have here people from the maths department, from the physics department, nuclear engineering department, chemical engineering department, mechanical engineering department, electrical engineering department, and that's really what makes us different. We have all the capabilities, and CAPES, which is belongs to the Ministry of Education, they have this ranking system within universities in Brazil, and the highest score is 7. So most of our, partners, they are top, players in Brazil, I think. The mechanical engineering department, the chemical engineering department, the civil engineering department, so on and so forth. Those are not ranked because they are undergrad programs. And these they are now 7. This is, again, that when it was prepared many years ago. So, we have another 7 in our league table. Again, this is not updated. That's, the lectures that started this path together with us. There are new people. New people joined the team. Some people left, and so on and so forth. But that's how it was really meant. And that's how we really thought the lab should be. That was 2006. We were going to have a 2-story building, about 800 square meters. That was supposed to be the inside. I don't have a pointer here. I'll use the mouse. So basically, you'd have a small workshop area, places for water experiments and air and water experiments. And in the second floor, you would have just a small, again, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 offices for lecturers, one very small seminar room, and so on and so forth. So that's really the way we started. That was how we envisaged the lab. That's how we thought it should be. Again, that's 2006. And that's how it is today. It is quite different, but again, it's the same concept in a different scale. And just to give you an idea, when we thought about our first budget, our current budget for the construction of the whole thing is 15 times larger. So we had to increase an order of, but when we changed the scale, we had to change an order of magnitude of things that we were doing, really. But today, Paul asked me to talk about the lab of recovery, the lab of well technology. And this is interesting because in the beginning, I told you that we have actually 3 labs working. And for the future, the expectation is that we are going to have at least 4 new labs. Actually, Doppel lab is already working, but we are going to have a lab on instrumentation applied to petroleum, lab on microelectronic mechanical systems, and so on and so forth. And that's interesting, because when the building next door was started, that was exactly, the virtual, the artistic view. That bears much more resemblance to what we have today. So it was taught on a different perspective. That's due to Laet, and that's due to 2008. So Thiago and Bernard, that's how we thought the lab should be. Now, that's the very first picture of the lab construction, the lab next door. Paul, that's 10th of November, 2009. The first stack was being hammered and so on and so forth, and that's the very first picture. Now, 3 months later, that's what we had. So when you put a lot of effort, you do things quite quickly. So that was 3 months later. That was 6 months later. And then we had many problems with the construction company. Many problems. You got stuck here. It took us almost, an year to start, doing stuff. And about a year later, in July, thanks to José Carlos, we progressed from this slide to this slide. So you see lots of difference in the inside and so on and so forth. That it took us a year. So that's July 2011. That's December. Again, José Carlos was starting working, so the progress again was a decent progress. And that was 11th of July 2012. So the building was almost ready about 2 years ago. You see the glass walls and so on and so forth. We all had to have a green grass in the front of the building. So that was middle of 2012. That was March 2013. Again, we could really quite see the building complete, and that was about a year ago. And 2013 was a very slow year for us, because basically we ran out of money. We had a certain budget to do the building, and to my mind, 3% of the necessary money, we got short of 3% of the necessary money. And the decision we took was not to ask Petrobras for extra money, because that would be a hustle, that would be really, really, really complicated. And the idea was let's use the new projects for, equipment and so on and so forth. Let's use part of that money for the construction work. So 2013 was a year where projects for development, research and development, were used to help implement to finish the building. So progress in 2013 was very slow, and that's basically how the building stands today. We saw the inauguration of the Icing Wind Tunnel about a month ago, and to my mind, we still need 2 or 3% of effort to finish the building. So last year, the progress was very slow, but we are almost there. And we rely on R&D projects to finish the building, basically, because again, it was, just that little bit, we needed to complete the building. Now, that's for the future. This is slightly, again, stuck, but we are planning to have this real scale simulator for, drilling simulations and so on and so forth. And we have been working there, Paulo, for many, many years there. It's been stuck for some time.
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. But that's one of the things I'm going to do in the second semester. I'm going to go to Petrobras, and we are going to talk to people. We are going to see how this stands, and we are going to make this viable, really. And again, this is a major undertaking. This is supposedly to be the biggest lab in the world, anywhere, that has to do with, drilling simulation. And it's going to be located in this particular university. That's a big undertaking. We have to talk to Petrobras. It's going to be, supposedly it's going to be financed and funded by Petrobras. Now, I told you there was to be a surprise. So what's the bit of surprise, Dave? We have this ambition of having our own engineering school. We want to have our own undergrad and graduate courses. And that's coming up for the next 2 or 3 years. And the starting point is these things that you guys are helping to put together, the labs. So we are going to do it the other way around. Normally people start with the standard courses and so on and so forth, and they build the lab. We are going to go the other way around. You have all the labs, we have the lectures, we have all the capabilities, and now we are, applying, we really want to have this, our own engineering school. We want to graduate our students with the quality we think they should be graduated. We want to think something which is really, really, really different. And again, we have been talking about that, and the emphasis is going to be on quality. We really want to have top quality students, top quality lecturers, and top quality work. And the idea is, in 5 years' time or something like that, we really want to have an impact. And because all this new engineering school is going to be built, take as a basis the labs we already have, our expectation is that that's going to be, big stuff. So it's basically, it's going to be a bachelor's degree in 3 years. The guy takes 2 extra years. He can complete his engineering degree. And there are all these sort of different paths. I don't want to get into details. But basically, this is Portuguese. We want to have a bachelor's degrees, engineering degrees, and courses that are going to last 1, 2, or 3 years. And basically, 40 permanent lecturers, resident lecturers, and 10 visiting lecturers. So we want to work with 50 people, and all these 50 people specialize in the things we are doing. And we think that's going to be a critical mass, which is good enough for us to advance science and technology, you know, on a consistent basis. So just the way you saw the, you know, the pictures when we thought how the building should be, these are the pictures for the new building. So the guys, you've got to prepare yourself, because if you think we have a lot of job to do for these buildings, we are going to have buildings number 3 and 4. We are in building number 1. Building next to is next door. I mean, we are planning to have buildings number 3 and 4. And building number 4 is going to be big, because when you come to Brazil next time, you can stay here with us. We're going to have a little hotel, charming little hotel, to have our guests and so on and so forth, and lectures and so on and so forth. And 1/3 of the students, we expect they're going to be, we want to provide accommodation for 1/3 of our students, to make it viable for people from different parts of the country, or for other countries, so on and so forth, to come over and serve with us. So that's basically how the things are going to work. Not quite sure how I'm doing, Paul. I think I'm just about the right time. And again, that's the end, but that's not all, folks. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Anybody wants to do any comments or questions to Professor Átila? Nope? Okay. So let's move on. So, well, so going now into the UR processes. Thank you. So we have started this research line about what 3 years ago when we started discussing the projects, right? It was just in the beginning, the first time, when David Watson came to visit the laboratory, David and Thomas Watling. So we start to discuss the development of EOR laboratory here at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. But if we were supposed to have a world-class laboratory, we will also need people to work in this laboratory, skilled people to work in this laboratory. So now we have these 2 projects, one for the laboratory and the other for the training people. These 2 projects are developed together with Heriot Water University, and our focal point there is Professor Madan Sohabi. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Okay, just a minute, please. So, I will talk about these 2 projects. These 2 projects are part of a larger project, which is Understanding Brazilian Pre-Salt Reservoir, funded by the BG Group. So, we have these 2 projects that I mentioned. They were approved by the Brazilian Petroleum Agency in 2013. The first one is to develop experimental enhanced oil recovery capabilities in Brazil. This is an infrastructure project to install in the building next door a world-class enhanced oil recovery laboratory. The second project is named Understanding Brazilian Pre-Salt Reservoir, a BG fellowship training program. And this is related to training people to be absorbed by the laboratory, by BG, or by the industry in general. These 2 projects are made in cooperation with Heriot Watt University. Heriot Watt has more than 20 years of experience in EOR techniques. So it's good to be partner of them. This is the picture of the building. We know, you all know this building. The laboratory is going to be installed in this area here and another area in the back of the building. And it will also count on all the other facilities of this building available. Classrooms, workstation for the students, computer facilities, etc. This is the main layout of the laboratory. This layout, yesterday we decided it's going to change a little bit, but basically it shows all the equipments. This is the first room, this is the second room, and I'm talking a little bit about these equipments that we are going to have, and it is important because they will allow us to do several experimental analysis on EOR. This is so much important. So I think that the most impressive equipment is the large core fluid rig equipped with an X-ray scanner. The X-ray will allow us to do images of the displacement of fluids during the test, so we will be able to track the saturation front within real cores. Okay, so we will perform core fluid experiments under reservoir condition. Reservoir condition, I mean, we will be able to operate at 10,000 psi and temperatures up to 120 degrees Celsius. And we will be able to do two-phase and three-phase relative permeability measurements, water injection with various salinity, gas injection, water alternating gas, simultaneous water and gas condensate experiments, and several other experiments that may arise in the near future. Okay. We also have the X-ray core scanning system to be plugged on the first equipment, and we will be able to do quantitative measurements from the test during the execution of the experiment. Another experiment is a medium core fluid rig for rapid core measurements, also operating at 10,000 psi, 150 degrees Celsius, fully compatible with high salinity brines and CO2. This is very important. CO2 now is one of the major problems of the pre-salt, as you know. We have wells with a production of CO2 that may exceed up to 40% in volume. So there's a lot of CO2 in the pre-salt. And what are we going to do with the CO2? Okay. We have also a high pressure, high temperature flow visualization rig. We call it the micromodel. Micromodel will allow us to do pore scale analysis of the displacement of fluids in the porous media. And we will be able to study a large number of processes, including water injection, and again, all the process I mentioned before with the other rigs. So with these three equipments, we will be able to go from pore scale to reservoir scale to core scale. You know, this is very important if we are planning to upscale the pore data to the reservoir simulator, and then have a more efficient and realistic prediction of the production under EOR techniques. I have other equipment like the drop shape analyzer. We have some characteristics here. Spinning drop, ultra low interface tension measurement system, a fluid recombination cell, viscosity and density measurement rig under reservoir condition, high pressure gas booster, vacuum pumps, and etc. So this project started effectively 1st January 2014 when we received the first part of the budget. It's a 5 years project, and all the main equipments were already purchased from Petroc Technology. It's a company in Scotland, and the first equipment will be delivered by the end of this year or beginning of the next year, okay, to be installed on the new building. Micromodel rig will be delivered by mid-2015, and the large core fluid rig with the X-ray probably by the end of next year and beginning of 2016. So I expect that the laboratory will be fully operational by middle 2016, with people trained and equipment already running with no problems and able to do real measurements. We are now undergoing adaptation of the existing infrastructure, power cables, communications, data, telephone, etc. Well, the other project is the training program. It's a fellowship program funded by BG Group. BG Group has a fellowship program to promote studies in given areas of their interest, of course. And we are involved in the enhanced oil recovery area of this program. It's done in cooperation with Heriot Watt. I am the focal contact here. Professor Meran Sohabi is the focal contact at Heriot Watt. And this project The idea is to send to Heriot-Watt 4 PhD students per year and 2 postdocs per year to do research on enhanced oil recovery, and then come back and transfer this technology back to Brazil, to our laboratory, to BG Group, and to the oil industry in general. Okay. It also started in the beginning of 2014. Also, again, it's a 5 years project. We already have 2 full PhD already selected. Juliana Façanha, which is already in Heriot-Watt, and Richard Moreira, which is not here yet. I cannot see him. We have 1 postdoc already selected, Paulo Moreira, which was also supposed to be here. Paulo, are you here? No. But he's supposed to come here today. We still have 3 positions open for 2014, for 2 full PhDs and 1 for a postdoc. So if you know anybody who wants to apply for this project, please let us know. Let Professor Merriam and Dave know about it also. Okay. If you have any questions about this project or this training program, please feel free to contact me. Here's my email. Here's the email of Professor Merriam Sohabi. You can find his contacts at the Heriot-Watt webpage. Also by BG Group, you may contact Dr. David Watson and Thomas Watling. Thomas Watling is currently in UK, but he's still in contact with Brazilian activities. You can also find more information on this webpage here, and very soon we will have our laboratory webpage operational. Well, thank you very much. If you have any questions regarding this project, I'll be glad to answer you. If not, I will invite Professor Merriam Sohabi to make his presentation. Thank you.